Okay, so this is gonna be part 5 to What If Deku Became a Kaiju? So let's get into it.
Do it on my own, so I gotta get through it. And the only thing I know is to love what I'm doing. Never give up, never slow, till I finally prove it. Never listen to the no's, I just wanna keep moving. Yeah, I put out all this art, it's my only medicine. Yeah, everything I do, I'm just being genuine. Yeah, I'm sick of being screwed, feel my own adrenaline. Yeah, I do just what I do, and I hope you let me in, yeah.
So where I last left off, Deku just like returned back to the surface because he discovered like caves underwater and like different I guess different species of kaijus, like aquatic kaijus. And I'm gonna start this off I'm gonna say 2 hours after that happened, like after Deku resurfaced. And Deku, he's at that little special, like that secret lab that I told you guys about in the last video. And Deku's there. He's explaining and telling like the people there how the caves and how the kaijus looked like. He's describing everything that he saw, and he also was also describing that the big kaiju, the one that chased him out of the cave. And they're just like asking him like genuine questions about how like how like how big were the how big were the kaijus and all that. And I must say that Nezu would walk in and he would say, "All right, Midoriya, it's getting kind of late and I think you should head back home." And Deku would say, "Oh, okay, I'll see you guys later." And they would like Deku would leave and he'll be walking with Nezu. They're just walking out of the building, and I think they got there by a helicopter. I don't remember how they got there. I think that it was by a plane or a helicopter or by a car. But I'll just say that they're leaving by a helicopter. So like they get in a helicopter and it flies off towards I guess the city. And as they're like flying, Nezu is asking about Deku's like personal life. He's asking like, oh, where does he live and like what does he do when he's not in school. And Deku would just say that he trains and that's about it. Like other than like eating and training, that's the only thing that he does. And Nezu would say, huh, well, like where do you live? And Deku would say like, oh, I never really told anyone where I lived. And Nezu would say like, is there something wrong? It was like, are you not comfortable like sharing where you live? And Deku would say that no, it's not that, but I live in the forest. And Nezu would say like, you live in the forest? And Deku would say, yeah, ever since that kaiju attack happened, like since my mom passed away, I've been on my own in the forest. And like since he didn't want to live in the city. No, he wouldn't say that. He just said that he's been in the woods the whole time. And Nezu would feel bad. And Nezu would say, tell you what, I'm gonna surprise you with something. And Deku would say, what do you mean? And Nezu would say that it's a surprise. But I'm gonna give you something. Not today, a little later, maybe in a few days. But right now, that's not important. What is important is the sports festival. It's happening in a couple of hours. Or no, it's happening tomorrow. Yeah, it's happening tomorrow. And Deku would say, oh yeah, I forgot about that. And Nezu would say, yeah, are you, like, yeah, it's a big day. Like, are you gonna show off your kaiju powers? And Deku would say, no, well, only my strength. I don't want to, like, transform and, or use any of my lightning abilities or my ability to adapt with to things. And as you'd say, yeah, that's reasonable. Like, you don't want people to get, like, be suspicious of you and how you got so many abilities. And Deku would say, yeah, so I'm just gonna use my strength. And as would say, all right. The helicopter lands and they're back at the city. I'm sorry if you can hear that truck, but anyway, so they're at the city, and Nezu would say, like, well, I hope you get home safely. And Deku would say, yeah, I'll see you, like, goodbye, Nezu. He bows and he just walks away. Nezu walks back to UA because he still has to fill out some paperwork. And Deku is walking. He walks around in a building and he transforms and he just starts running. He runs into the forest and he would eventually get to his house. And yeah, he would just eventually get to his house. And yeah, and he would just sleep. He would just go to bed. And he would wake up. It would be the next day. And Deku would say, oh, today's the day. It's the sports festival. Alright, time to get this day started. And not Deku. I think I said Nezu. Yeah, I said Nezu, but I meant to say Deku. So Deku would get ready. He would put on his uniform. And he would transform. And he would start running towards the city. Eventually he would get there. He would de-transform when he's close enough to UA. So yeah, he would just de-transform and just walk towards UA. So he would make it and he would enter his class to see everyone there. Everyone is just talking. Like, Deku would just go to sit down. Eventually Aizawa would walk in and he would start explaining the sports festival. And he would tell everyone to put on their PE uniforms because it's happening right now. So everyone would get nervous, but they would comply and put on their uniforms. And everyone would meet up at the arena, like in Canon. And Midnight would be there, and she would start explaining the whole sports festival. And the first obstacle would be the race. Yeah, the race. Deku would kind of get, like, he would give off a little smile because he knows that he's gonna win this obstacle. Like, even though he's not, like, looking down on his class or anyone else, he just knows that he has the powers of a kaiju, so he knows that he's faster and stronger than everyone else. So, but he's not gonna use, like, all of his, like, speed. He's only gonna use, like, a small percentage of it, so he doesn't look, like, suspicious or anything like that. So everyone would get, like, ready. They'll be like warming up and they'll be at the starting line. And Midnight would say go. Todoroki would freeze over, like, everyone's feet, like in canon. Deku would see this. He would see this happening. He would jump up so his feet wouldn't get frozen. but then he would land on the ice and he would sort of like skate away. He would see Todoroki fly or just like running off. Then Bakugo would just explode out of the ice, along with the other people that got out got out of the ice and cannon. And Deku would say, "Oh, okay, that's a little rocky start, but I can manage." So Deku would start running. He's not using all of his speed. Like I said, he's only using one percentage, like a small percentage of it. And he's running. Eventually, he would catch up to Todoroki and Deku. Not that he would catch up to Todoroki and Bakugo. Sorry, and like he would pass everyone else that passed him before, and he would make it. He would catch up to those two. And Todoroki, he's already distracted with Bakugo, but then he would also notice that Deku is catching up to him. So he's trying to like stop Bakugo by like um overtaking him. So he's like shooting ice. He's like making obstacles for Bakugo, but Bakugo would be dodging him or like just exploding the ice that's in front of him. And Todoroki would try to make some ice like obstacles for Deku, but Deku would just dodge him and just break the ice. And then they would eventually get to the zero pointer robots. Um, Todoroki would stop and do that whole thing with like his ice wall attack, like in canon. But and like I would say like there was more robots, because I think Todoroki only froze like one or two of them. So Deku would just use like not all of his strength, but some of it to like jump up, and I would say he would make it all the way up to the robot's waist, which is pretty high, but I'm just gonna say not too high. And Deku would punch at the robot's like waist, and the robot would just basically like break in half, and the the upper body of the robot would just fall off, and the legs would also fall as well. Deku would like I want to say Deku would actually overtake Todoroki. Bakugo would like see Deku overtake Todoroki, and he would get mad and he would say like no, I'm the only one who's I'm the only one that's gonna win this, and not you, Deku. And so he would start exploding his way towards Deku. I'm gonna say that like he would be neck and neck with Todoroki, but I'm gonna say Baku would like slightly overtake him. Like he's not like really far ahead of him. He's just like Todoroki's close behind. I'm just gonna say that. Bakugo would be exploding. He would get like closer to closer, and Deku. Deku would say like, "Dang, like Bakugo's getting closer to me," and I feel like I'm gonna have to use more of my speed. So Deku would use more of his speed, and he would start running faster and faster and faster. Bakugo would try to catch up to Deku, but he can't. And Deku would make it to like the canyon part, and he would just start jumping over. Not the entire thing, but he would just jump towards like the pillars, like that are in the middle. He'll be jumping pillar to pillar, and eventually he would make it to the other side. Bakugo would just like fly over the entire thing, and Todoroki would just like freeze over like the ropes that were attached to the pillars, like he did in canon. Deku would just be running, and eventually he would make it to the landmines. Deku, he would see the landmines ahead of him, and he would just jump over the entire thing, and he kind of forgot of He forgot that he was meant to like hide like most of his like strength. But he just realized that when he was like falling back towards the ground, and he would say like, "Oh shoot, I didn't mean to jump that high." And everyone that like the audience would be shocked of how far Deku jumped and how high he jumped. And Deku would just he would just jump over the landmine. He would continue running and he would get first place. So Midnight would announce the second up like the second round, I guess. And she would announce it to be the cavalry battle. And Deku, I'm gonna say that no one. No, I'm gonna say that a couple of people want to be on his team. Yeah, a couple of people. I'm gonna say. Um, I'm gonna say Tokoyami, Mina, Uraraka, Soji, and that's it. Those four would want to be on his team. I don't know. I just thought of like random characters from Class 1A, so those people could be on Deku's team. Deku would be the horse, or not the horse, like the rider, and the other people would hold him up, like in canon. So, so when Midnight would say like start the round, everyone would go for Deku's team, like in canon. Deku would say like, "All right, everyone, brace yourselves," and Deku would just punch the air, and it would basically be like a 20% smash. No, I'm gonna say a 15% smash of One for All, and it doesn't do like any damage to people. It'll just like make them like lose their balance, and some of the teams will like fall that were like closer to Deku. But unlike the other teams like Todoroki's and Bakugo's, they would get back on their they would get their on their balance. I can't talk right now. Sorry. But like they would charge at Deku's team. Bakugo would start exploding his way. He would eventually get like really close, and he would reach for the headband, but Deku would grab Bakugo's hand, and like he would just throw him back towards his team, and Todoroki would freeze the the floor in front of. No, he would freeze the ground in front of Deku's team, so like like his team would be like frozen in the ground, like their feet would be frozen, and Todoroki would say like, "All right, Ito, you can do your thing now," and Ito would like be charging up his reciprocal burst, and Deku would say, "Huh, I didn't know Ito had this thing up his sleeve," and he would yell out reciprocal burst, and so I'll just say that Deku would be looking in slow motion, and he would see like Todoroki's team just like be passing, like about to pass him, and Todoroki is about to grab Deku's headband, but Deku would smack Todoroki's hand away just in time. So I'm gonna say that sorry, I was just thinking about something. But Todoroki's team would be like right at the edge of like the ring that they were in, and Todoroki would like look back at Deku and like give off a smirk because he thinks that he got the headband. And as he like looks at his hand, he would notice that he doesn't have it, and he would give off like an angry face, and he would look back, and he would see Deku with the headband, and he would just like give a smile and the wave, and his team would break free from the ice, and they wouldn't go for other headbands because they don't need to, and they would just be like avoiding other people's teams. So yeah, eventually the time would run out, and Deku's team would also win that round. So yeah, then the one-on-one matches would be announced, and before the matches would be called. No, like the matches would be made, but it like the rounds wouldn't start. Like they wouldn't the matches wouldn't start. I would say like they would have like a 15-minute break. No, I think they had a lunch. Yeah, I think they had like a lunch break before like the one-on-one matches. Yeah, they had that. So it would be like lunchtime for them, and Deku would be in the cafeteria eating. I would say by himself because why not? And Nezu would approach him, and he would like whisper in Deku's ear that he needs his help with something, and Deku would say like, "Oh, okay." So he would finish up his lunch, and he would follow Nezu. So Nezu would take him towards like the defense force side of, or like no, he would take him to the defense force headquarters, because UA high school and the defense force are two separate things, but he owns both of them. So yeah, so Nezu would take Deku to the defense force headquarters, and Nezu would say like, "All right, Midoriya, like I like thank you for being here, and recently like it's happening again." And Deku would say like, "What do you mean?" And Nezu would say, "We're getting loud like signals from the ocean, the same place that you went last time." And Deku would say like, "Oh, like what's happening though? Like like why is it like happening again?" And Nezu is saying, "We don't know, but we want you to like like look at it, like and we want you to go back down there." And Deku would say like, Really?" And with like a nervous like tone, I guess. Yeah, tone. And Nezu would say, "Yeah, I know you're nervous. Sorry. I know you're nervous. I can hear it in your voice. But we really need your help with this, Midoriya. Like, who knows? Like you told us about this massive kaiju that's down there, and we don't know we don't know what it's doing. It can be like, it can be planning an attack on the city, and how you described it, it's nothing like we've ever seen before. So we want to be as prepared as possible. If necessary, we're gonna have to take it out." And Deku would say like, "Take it out. Like, I know you guys are strong, but like you said, it's nothing like you guys ever seen before. It's nothing like I've ever seen before." Like, and Nezu would say, yeah, we know. That's why we want you to go back down there to learn more things, like study it while you're, and we want you to stay down there for a while." And Deku would say, "A while? How long is that?" And Nezu would say, 2 weeks. Deku would say, 2 weeks? Like, that's kind of like a long time. And how would I get food? Nezu would say like, "You have fish down there, right? Like, yeah, fishes are in the ocean, so you can just eat those." And Deku would say like, "How am I gonna cook them?" And Nezu would say like, "Oh yeah, you're right." Deku would say like, "Can I just bring my own food down there?" And Nezu would say, "Yeah, you can. So, will you go back down there again?" And Deku would say, "Yeah, I will. When will I go back down there?" And Deku would say, or Nezu would say, "In a month." Deku would say, "A month? Alright." So, Deku's, the lunch break would end. Deku would say, "Oh, the break is over. I have to go back. My match is about to start." And Nezu would say, "Okay, good luck." And Deku would say, "Thanks." Deku would walk out, and he would return back to the sports festival arena. And Deku's match would be announced. He would be versing Shinso. And Shinso, or Midnight would say go. Shinso would start like roasting Deku, like saying insults. And Deku, since he was at the Defense Force headquarters, Ojiro couldn't tell him about his quirk. So when Shinso would start insulting Deku, Deku would actually say, when he would say like, "Hey, like, you don't, like, why would you say something like that?" And Shinso would say, "Got you." And Deku's eyes would like go white or like gray. Like Deku would be like under Shinso's control. He would be brainwashed. And Shinso would say like, walk out of the ring. And Deku would turn around and walk out of the ring. As he's walking, he's like, since he knows that he's brainwashed, but he's still conscious and he knows what he's doing. He just can't stop his body from doing it. So he's in his head just like screaming, or no, he's not screaming. He's just saying like, what is this guy's quirk? Like, did he like hypnotize me? And he would just say that, but he only he hypnotized me only when I answered back to him. So it's maybe he can brainwash people, but only if they answer they talk back to him. So Deku would say like, I have to figure out a way to get out of the brainwash. And he starts like thinking of other ways. And Deku would say like, this is the only choice I have. And Deku, with all of his like strength, which is a lot, he would just like transform like his wrist into his kaiju form. Yeah, it would transform, and he would just like do like the flick like Deku did in canon. But yeah, he would do like the flick, but his fingers wouldn't be broken. And Deku would be out of like, he would not be brainwashed anymore. And Shinso would say like, how did you break out of it? And Deku would de-transform his hand, and Deku would say, well, he wouldn't say anything, but he would think like, perfect, I got I got out of the brainwashing. Now I just don't have to say anything, and I just got to take him out. So Deku would rush at Shinso. Shinso would say, he would just start throwing throwing insults at Deku and trying to make him talk. And it's not working because Deku's not saying a word, because he knows if he does, he would be brainwashed again. And Deku just punched Shinso in the stomach, sending him flying out of the ring. And he would be unconscious, and Deku would be announced the winner of the first round. So Deku would he would return back to his, like, his seat. No, I would say he would, like, yeah, he would return back to his seat and he would watch the other matches start, and eventually his second match would be called upon. He would be versing Todoroki. So Deku is, like, ready and he knows, like, what he has to do. And Todoroki, no, as they, like, both of them walk on to the arena, and they're Deku's just staring at Todoroki, and Todoroki's, like, giving Deku, like, the death stare, I guess, like a glare. He's giving a glare at Deku because Todoroki thinks that he's stronger than Deku, even though he's not. So Midnight would say, like start the match, and Todoroki would use, like, do an ice attack at Deku. Deku would just break the ice with one punch, sending, like, the ice shards back at Todoroki. And Todoroki would have to make, like, an ice wall so he wouldn't like get pushed back. And Todoroki would continue to throw ice attacks, but Deku would just continue to break them. This would go on for a little bit, and Deku would just, like, he would charge in, and he would go for a punch. It would, like, the punch would land, but when he punched Todoroki, Todoroki would freeze over his left arm, like in canon, but his arm wouldn't be broken. But Deku would notice that his left arm is, like, frozen, and Todoroki would be, like, sent flying almost out of the ring, and Deku would look at his arm. Todoroki would get back up. Deku would grab his arm, and he would just break the ice like it was nothing. And Deku would say, like, you really think just by freezing my arm it would be that I can't talk right now. But he would say, like, you think that I, like, just by freezing my arm, you think that's how I'm gonna lose? And Deku would say, like, well, you're wrong. And Deku would charge back in. Like, he would charge at Todoroki. Todoroki would throw an ice attack at him. Sorry about that, guys. Anyways, so Todoroki would throw an ice attack at Deku. Deku would dodge the attack, and Deku would continue to charge at Todoroki. Todoroki would get his flashbacks, like in canon. And out of, like, when Deku was about to punch Todoroki out of pure instinct would just, like, cover himself, like, with fire, and Deku's, like, arm would, like, kind of get burned. Deku would jump back, and Deku would say, his fire, like, you're, like, and he would yell out to Todoroki, he's like, hey, you're using your fire. And Todoroki didn't even notice, and Todoroki would just like, no, like, why am I using his fire? And Deku would say, like, it's not your fire, it's not his fire, it's your fire. It's no longer your dad's quirk, it's yours, and you can use it however you want to. And Todoroki would give off, like, a little smile to Deku, and he would say, like, thank you. But then Deku's would sense that a kaiju is near. His senses would go off, and the ground would start to shake, and Todoroki would say like, what's going on? And people are confused, like as well. But then the ground was like the shaking was starting to get stronger and stronger, and then the sirens to signify that a kaiju attack is about to happen go off, and everyone would start freaking out, and people would just start screaming like it's a kaiju attack, a kaiju is about to attack us, and um everyone would like start like leaving like the stadium, and like the heroes are saying to evacuate immediately, and they would call up the defense force to the stadium. Todoroki and Deku would run off, and the kaiju would appear like in the middle of the stadium where like Todoroki and Deku were fighting at. It would appear. It would just come up from the ground, and it's an S-class kaiju. It's big, and this kaiju has it has 4 arms, and yeah, it has 4 arms, and it's kind of reptilian like, but with like other features like from like different animals, like fins from like, yeah, just fins, and yeah. So like the kaiju would start attacking or start breaking the stadium, because like not everyone like made it out, and I would just say that people would like get crushed from like the rubble, and yeah, people would get crushed by like the rubble that the kaiju is making from the stadium. Then the defense force would show up. They would start attacking the kaiju. The kaiju, I must say that this kaiju has super regeneration, not like the Nomus, but like it's way stronger. Like if it loses an arm, it can just regrow it like back like instantly. And so the defense force would like would start shooting the kaiju, but the kaiju would just block the gunfire with like 2 of his arms, and I must say he would shoot out. No, he would like he would shoot out like acid from its mouth towards the defense force, and they would move out of the way, and it would just like burn through whatever this, I think it was like, it'll just burn through like the things that the defense force was standing on. And Deku did not leave the stadium. He's actually just watching this go down. And Deku would say like, I have to do something. Sorry about that long pause. I thought someone was coming in my room, but no one was. So, anyways, Deku's like just thinking of what to do, and eventually he would just transform into his kaiju form, and he would grow in size, and he would just like give off. He would start roaring, and this would like catch the kaiju's attention, and the kaiju would start charging toward, or would start following where he heard the roar from, and he would just break through like the entire sports festival stadium, and like basically that stadium is basically gone. It's completely destroyed from the kaiju, and the kaiju would also give off a roar, and Deku, he's starting to look more like Godzilla. I'm just gonna say that right now. Yeah, he's starting to look more like Godzilla, and Deku would start charging at the kaiju. The kaiju would also charge at Deku. They would collide in the middle. They would be using their special abilities. Deku would be using like lightning. The kaiju would start shooting acid at Deku. Deku's skin would start like melting, because of the acid. So Deku would uppercut the kaiju. The kaiju gets sent flying up. Then the kaiju would land back at the ground. It will land at the ground. Deku would jump up and is about to like basically land on top of the kaiju, but the kaiju would move out of the way, and then would get back up and kick Deku in the side. Yeah, on the side. Deku would get sent flying towards some buildings, and those like he would like destroy like most of the buildings around him. Deku would give off a roar, and he would also see like people like running from from him and also the kaiju. And I must say that the kaiju would start charging at him. Deku would say I have to lead him away from the city, and Deku would charge at the kaiju, and the kaiju would would slash at Deku, but Deku would dodge the attack, would basically grab holds of the kaiju and just jump away, and he's jumped like really far away, like he's out of the city now, and he lands in the forest. So yeah, he would there. Sorry. So like Deku would let go of the kaiju. The kaiju would start attacking Deku. It would start biting him. Deku is saying like Deku is like basically absorbing the kinetic energy that like the kaiju is giving him from his attacks, and Deku would release the kinetic energy with a punch. The kaiju would get sent flying back, but it wouldn't kill him. The kaiju would get back up and would start running towards Deku. Deku would run towards it. Then the kaiju would do like kind of like a surprise attack, and like Deku was going for the face, and Deku was also thinking that the kaiju would go for like a punch or would use its arm to attack him. So he was like he was getting ready to like block like his upper body, but then the kaiju would like switch towards like his leg and kick Deku right in like in the stomach, and Deku would get sent flying. The kaiju would jump up, and the kaiju would grab onto Deku and basically just throw him towards the ground, creating a crater. And the kaiju would land on top of Deku, and the kaiju is basically ripping Deku apart. He's ripping like his scales off, his skin. And sorry about that, guys. Anyways, so Deku's actually getting pretty hurt from the kaiju just like tearing his scales and skin off. And yeah, the kaiju's doing a lot of damage to Deku, but Deku would wrap his tail around one of the kaiju's legs, and he would basically throw the kaiju away from him, and Deku would like get back up, but really like slowly because like he's injured. I'm gonna say that like he can't regenerate, or right now. Oh, did I give him regen? I didn't give him regeneration. But Deku would say like, dang, I can't regenerate. Like this hurts really bad. I have to end this quick. So the kaiju would get back up. The kaiju would charge at Deku. Deku would charge at the kaiju, and the kaiju would throw a punch at Deku. Deku would throw a punch at it, and both of their punches would land on each other, and both of them would get sent flying back. And Deku would say like, how would I kill this? How am I gonna kill this? And Deku would say like, what, can I go for the neck? And Deku was thinking that he should go for the neck, but he would, but he says that he has to end this quickly, so he would just say like, I'll just go for the heart. I'll just go for the heart. So Deku would charge at the kaiju. The kaiju would charge at him, and the kaiju would throw a kick at Deku, but Deku would block the kick, and basically, he would basically use his claws to basically tear the kaiju's heart out. He would basically penetrate the kaiju, and Deku would have the kaiju's heart in his hand, and he would just crush it, making like it would just explode, and the kaiju would just die like instantly. Then Deku would fall back because like he's really injured, and Deku would say like, I have to regenerate. And I would say that the kaiju would start regenerating, and Deku would say like, I knew I had to go for the neck. And before the kaiju can finish regenerating, Deku would just stomp on the kaiju's neck, and that's when the kaiju really dies. And Deku would say, finally. Then Deku would say like, I have to heal up. So Deku would take a chunk of the kaiju's like flesh and just eat it, gaining the ability to regenerate. And yeah, I'm end it off here. I hope you guys liked this part. If you did, make sure to like and subscribe, and I'll see you guys next time. Bye.
I want that body, baby, show me.